So Hungary will continue to have the lowest energy prices in Europe. We have created all the necessary preconditions for this, which specifically means that we have received full exemption from sanctions in the case of the Turkish Stream and the Friendship Pipeline. There are no sanctions that would limit or make more expensive the supply coming to Hungary from there. This is a general and indefinite exemption. We agreed on issues of nuclear cooperation. We agreed that Westinghouse will join Hungary's nuclear energy industry. This is a new development. Americans have never participated in Hungary's nuclear energy industry before. Now this is happening. First, we will purchase fuel from Westinghouse. Second, there are the so-called small modular nuclear reactors, which represent a completely new technology in the history of energy, and in which the Americans have advanced technology. We do not have such technology of our own, and we have agreed to introduce American technology in Hungary. Next week we will need to amend some laws in Parliament for this purpose. We are opening the way for the appearance of this type of small nuclear power plants in Hungary. And thirdly, we agreed that we will receive that American technology, which is better than ours, more modern than what we use, and with the help of which we will store under safe conditions the used fuel materials. In the field of nuclear energy, an important obstacle to cooperation was that the Biden administration had previously imposed sanctions on the construction of the Paks 2 Hungarian nuclear power plant. We had previously managed to obtain an exemption from these sanctions. The deadline for this exemption was dangerously approaching, and we agreed that this exemption from the sanction, would not be extended, but the entire sanction would be abolished as it is. So, there are no American objections to the construction of the Paks 2 power plant in Hungary. They are not taking any steps to prevent this, and if any such sanction obstacles have arisen so far, we have consigned them to the past. And of course, we talked at length about the issue of war and peace. I can summarize this wide-ranging conversation or negotiation in 2 sentences for you. The first is that peacemaking must continue. Both governments are determined to continue the prerequisites or efforts for creating peace. Hungary specifically offers its own capabilities to assist the President of the United States in the matter of the Ukrainian-Russian war, in achieving peace. And the second sentence states that the Budapest meeting is on the agenda, and when the conditions for this are met, no one can say the exact date now, then this meeting will take place in Budapest.
Prime Minister, did I understand correctly that during your meeting, President Trump said he would exempt Hungary indefinitely from all sanctions to be imposed on Russian oil and natural gas?
What happened is what the president predicted at the press conference. We sat down and examined it, and as a result of the examination, we concluded that Hungary is in a significantly different situation from other European countries, and it is not possible for Hungary to be secure to maintain its energy supply, and it is not possible to provide affordable energy to Hungarian families and businesses if there continue to be sanctions on the 2 key pipelines from this perspective. We examined this and determined, then said, since it is so, we asked the President to abolish these sanctions. We requested 2 pipelines to be exempt from all sanctions, one that brings gas from the south, the other that brings oil from the east. And we agreed, the President decided, and said that these sanctions will not be applied to these 2 pipelines. When we came here, we were in very big trouble. We were in deep water, or perhaps the situation was even worse. We have now pulled ourselves out of it, so we are past this. Fortunately, it didn't last long. About 2 weeks ago, the Americans announced the sanction system that they generally apply to Russian energy. regardless of how it affects any particular country. You see, we are no longer the first. Other countries have also requested some type of exemption. For example, someone requested an exemption for a refinery from the Germans, to be precise. This general sanction system would have knocked us to the ground. Imagine that from the end of November, every Hungarian household would have paid 2.5 or 3 times more for utilities than in October or November.
That the organization of the Budapest Peace Summit remained on the agenda. Does this mean we are closer to it, or are we stagnating? How can this even be expressed in centimeters, minutes, hours?
I think before the meeting, at the press conference, or what was it, press discussion, there the president said twice that we are close enough for this to happen soon. But we are not closer compared to where we were yesterday or the day before. So the open questions that are hindering the agreement, the ceasefire or the peace agreement, are the same today as they were 1 or 2 weeks ago.
So it's about those beyond our control.
The temptation is great to ask where Caroline is, but I won't ask that. Instead, I'm curious if I understand correctly that the sanctions were not on the pipelines, but on the companies, the energy companies. How will it be that oil and natural gas can come through these pipelines for Lukoil and other Russian companies?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
This is art.
In Hungarian, Russian companies were also exempt from these sanctions to Hungary.
We made an offer that they could easily accept with the same benefit for us.
If I understand correctly, this will have some impact on the decision regarding the oil embargo, on the EU sanctions policy as well, specifically that there is a European country that is exempt from an American decision. Has the Prime Minister received any calls about others possibly joining this group in which we are currently the only ones? Because it's not certain that this decision only potentially has negative consequences for us.
Well, I wouldn't think with others' heads, maybe at home. What I can say now is, just to make the situation clearly understandable, that there is an American and a Brussels sanction system on the energy system, energy supply systems. What we discussed now is the American sanction system. We have pulled ourselves out of this. The struggle against the European sanction system, how and in what way we can stay out of it, is another match. It has to be fought in Brussels, and that will also take place sometime in December.
What was the President's opinion on the outcome of the war, and how do they see the chances for peace now?
I gather very interesting experiences at times like this, not only in Washington, but also when I negotiate with European leaders. There is something that I think is almost self-evident for all of us in Hungary. I might be wrong and it might not be as widely accepted as I think, but I believe it is evident. It sounds like this: Ukraine cannot defeat Russia in the war. I think this is as obvious to every Hungarian as 1 + 1 or the alphabet. Now compared to this, here in America and in major European countries, they pose the question as if it's an open matter who will win. So there is a notion that Ukraine can win this war against Russia on the front. And they ask me about this, what is the Hungarian standpoint, how we analyze it, what we think about it. I consider the agreement we made with the United States on customs matters to be of very low quality from the European Union side. It's an unprofessional, shameless, terrible agreement than this. I'm not saying only in Budapest, but I believe that in some major European capitals they could have put much higher quality proposals on the table, and we would have reached a better agreement than what the Brussels bureaucracy negotiated here.